Did FSLY break the internet today? Investors believe so. The stock price right now is down about 1.7% before the market is open. And let's take a quick look at what happened. Earlier this morning, there were a few outages in some big websites. And FSLY did announce earlier today that they were investigating potential impact to their CDN services. Ever since, FSLY has been keeping us updated, and at the moment they have mentioned that a fix has been applied and that customers should be returning back to normal operations. Is this giving investors a buying opportunity, or is it time to jump ship? On today's episode, we're going to take a quick look at the recent news. We're also going to take a look at some of the websites that were affected, following by future growth. We're also going to take a look at technicals and valuation metrics for this company to see how are things looking. So let's get started. So FSLY right now is traded under the New York Stock Exchange as ticker FSLY. It's currently sitting at $49.85. It's down about 1.68%. If we take a look from its 52-week high, this stock is down a nice amount. It's down over 60.65%, and it currently has a market cap of $5.87 billion. A huge reason for that huge drop in the past year is this company's valuation, right? The overall growth stock correction. Nonetheless, we're going to take a quick look at some valuation metrics in a bit to see how things are looking at the moment. But like I mentioned earlier in this episode, around 9:58 Universal Time, FSLY announced that they were investigating potential impact to performance within their CDN services. There has been an update, and they mentioned that a fix was applied by 10:36 Universal Time, and customers may continue to experience decrease in performance, but services will be returning. There has been a lot of talks in social platforms right now, and it does seem investors are kind of happy to some way. First, they said that it helped that FSLY was able to make the fixes pretty quickly, or fastly, and it also helped certain investors find out some customers that they did not know FSLY had. Investors should also understand that there is a possibility for some negative financial impact. Are there going to be any suing? Is there going to be any refunds for a certain time? Are customers less likely to work with FSLY? Are new customers that were on the fence most likely going to go to another CDN server instead? So I do believe this is also some negative news, and investors should remember that. If you go online, you can find a nice list of all the websites that were affected, but FSLY provides support for numerous new sites and applications. They also provide services for content delivery in a lot of the streaming platforms that we use on every day, from both video, audio, and even game streaming. There were even some major e-commerce websites that were affected. So like I mentioned, a lot of investors were super excited to see this because it really showed the extent of what customers FSLY had. Also guys, if I am providing some form of value, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up. It really does help with the overall channel, and I do appreciate it. But if certain investors were really curious about their overall customers, I definitely would recommend taking a look at their investors presentation of March 20th, 2021. They do announce a good portion of their customers here. Obviously, this is not all of them. Another place you could go is if you go to their website, they have customer stories, and again, you can continue to see a good portion of stories by some of the major players that they work with. But before we take a quick look at fundamentals, let's take a quick listen to today's sponsor. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You guys know I love finding new investing tools and resources to help me scout out new growth stocks. And right now I have a discount for one of my favorite services the Fool offers. Through the Motley Fool Stock Advisor services, you get access to a ton of expert stock picks. Every month you'll get 2 new picks that are aimed at growing your wealth and to help you realize your financial goals. Stock Advisor's average stock picks have done amazing returns. If growing your money is something you'd like to do more of this year, you can visit fool.com/Jose Najarro or click on the link below for access to my special offer and decide if the Stock Advisor is right for you. Thanks again to the Motley Fool, and now onto today's video. Now, if we take a look at future growth, this is a company that's expected to grow 23% 3.9% on average for the next 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, FSLY at the moment is not a company that's profitable or even positive in cash flow from operations. So this to me is more of a speculative play. I do have it in my portfolio, but because it is a speculative play and speculative plays aren't a negative term, it just means that there is a little bit more risk behind them because they are not profitable, because they're not positive cash flow from operations. I have to be a little bit more strict on them. If we take a look at their balance sheet, they have about $1.1 billion in cash and short-term investments, and they have about $930 million in debt. So normally this balance sheet would it wouldn't scare me off because they are net positive in cash, but they do have a good portion of debt. If we take a look at recent news, on March 3rd of 2021, FSLY did grab a $825 million 0% convertible senior notes that are not due till 2026. That is most of the debt coming from this company. So most of this debt is very cheap money and it's not due till 5 years from now. So this tells me that the overall balance sheet for FSLY is super impressive right now, and they are expected to use that proceeds for working capital and other general purposes. They can also use it for acquisition or strategic investments. So I do see in the near future FSLY will be making some big moves. Now if we take a look at technicals for this company, this has seen a huge correction like we've seen. The most recent correction came after its recent earnings. What I do see right now is this company is sitting at a nice volume area. It's not overextended from a high valuation. All right, so now if we take a look at valuation metrics, this is probably my favorite metric, forward price to sales ratio for a company that's not profitable. The current price to sales ratio is about 11.89. We can see it's a lot cheaper than it was for pretty much most of the year of 2020. And these are the values, right? Software companies, I like to take a look at them when they're around a price to sales ratio of 10. You can see it is still a lot higher than it was pre-COVID, but it's not as overly extended as it was before. This 11.89, I do believe it has eliminated a good portion of the risk. And if I ever wanted to increase my exposure in FSLY, I do believe now is the time. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's quick episode. FSLY in my portfolio is somewhere between a tier 2 and a tier 3, maybe a tier 2.5. I am liking the valuation metrics that is at right now, but I still don't know if I want to increase my overall exposure, as I am increasing my overall exposure in some of my bigger plays. But FSLY could make the list in the upcoming weeks if it stays around this price to sales ratio. So let me know in the comments below. Are you a bull in FSLY? Are you a bear in FSLY? And take care, have a good night, and see you next time.